Are you ready to become an escape-reneur? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast, designed by brilliant women, especially for brilliant women who want to create the life of their dreams by escaping the 9 to 5.
Welcome to the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast, where we are helping women escape the 9 to 5 and build a business that they love and really get aligned with who they are for themselves and their families. I'm so excited today to have an amazing guest, and I'm bubbling over. She is going to do some amazing things here today. So, Miss Marley Jamason, she is just a totally just cool. I don't know how else to say it. Just totally amazing. And so Miss Jamason is a transformational catalyst who uses the Akashic, and I hope I said that right, Marley, Akashic Records, an intuitive business strategy to help entrepreneurs create a soul-aligned business full of abundance. I love it. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna get some of that alignment on me today for abundance. Yes, because I always want to be in the spirit of gratitude and abundance. She specializes in helping people get unstuck and heal deep energetic wounds that have been holding them back. Welcome, Marley.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes. And let me first start by saying what you are doing is such good, important work, especially for women. I feel, carry so much of our wounds around with us daily. It's just, and it's heavy. I'm sorry, it's heavy and it's overwhelming, and so I think that you are just doing such great work, because we hold everything, I think. And so I'm excited to get started. So let's start by you telling us your story. What got you on this path, to this journey? So tell us about that.
I'd be happy to. And thank you so much for your kindness. I do appreciate it. And it's such a joy to help other people heal and step into their own empowerment. So that's such an honor to help with.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
What got me here to my journey? That's a good question. A lot of things. I mean, don't you think everything that we do in life brings us exactly to the present moment?
Yes.
So, I guess I had an unusual training, so to speak. It's not what people would typically think of as training, but I think it was a spiritual and life training in a way. I actually had a chronic mystery illness for 9 years of my life. Mm-hmm. Starting at age 14, it just came out of nowhere. I had chronic pain, chronic fatigue, chronic depression. I had all sorts of random symptoms, and I had no idea what was going on. I really didn't. The doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. And I just felt totally lost in my illness for a long time.
Wow.
It was difficult. It's difficult for anyone, but I think especially as a teenager it's uncomfortable and confusing anyway. It was very isolating to be so ill. Mm-hmm. My illness taught me a lot about how to live life. I learned a lot about myself, my body, spirituality, the medical system, mindset, empowerment, all sorts of things. And of course, I've taken additional trainings and more formally learned since then, but my illness was really one of my first major teachers.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, would you say that in that process, because I was so young, did you have a good support system that kind of helped you through that?
Oh, absolutely. Thankfully, I had a great support system with my family and a few close friends. So I was really lucky with that, and I was able to receive a lot of love and the support that I needed in order to heal. And that was a tremendous blessing.
Yes. Now, did they ever figure out what the mystery illness was, Marley?
No, they didn't. And actually, I stopped caring. I actually didn't really care what it was because the label didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
The label didn't matter. Yeah. And what I found was, I'm not sure the original physiological reason for my illness, but as I learned later on, toward the end of my illness, I started understanding the emotional and the spiritual components that contributed to some of my symptoms. And like you said, women and just people in general hold on to a lot of traumas. And of course, I'm not a medical doctor. Go seek medical attention if you need it. But, in addition to receiving physical support, it's important to look at what are the emotional and spiritual contributors here and mental contributors to symptoms that you might be having. And for me personally, I noticed that there was a lot of pain in me from various traumatic incidents that I might have experienced or perhaps my family experienced. And I was just picking up on all of that, and it really exacerbated my illness.
Yeah. And Marley, I can attest to that. I went through a very traumatic experience with my ex-husband, and for months after that, I had a lot of pain in my body, and I was going to the doctor, and the doctor was like, we don't find anything. And after about the 50th visit, the doctor just sat me down and said, your problem is not physical, it's mental. He said, there's nothing wrong with you. There's a mental problem though, because you had to have gone through a very traumatic situation recently. And I had, but I never told him about it. And I did at that time. And he said, yeah, it was definitely mental. So I had to go out and get the help I needed to sort through that mentally. But I can attest to the fact how that shows up in the body. And for me, it still shows up when I am stressed. I will say I don't like to be stressed because I carry stress in my body. And people don't understand that statement. They're like, how do you mean you carry stress in your body? And I said, I just do. When I'm stressed, there's certain parts of my body that hurt. And that's how I know. Because sometimes I think we stress and we don't know about it. We don't recognize it maybe as being true stress. We just think, oh, I'm going through something at this point in time, Marley. So that's how it clues me into knowing, okay, this thing is stressing me out. I've got to let it go somehow because I feel pain in different areas of my body. So just talking about that instance for me, if I were your client and I came to you, Marley, and we were talking about this feeling that I have when I'm stressed and I start to feel pain how do you help me release some of because I know the stress is something that may be happening now, but there's a deeper meaning behind it. There's something in my past even that could be triggering a lot of this. How do you help me through that?
That's a great question. And I wanted to, first of all, thank you for sharing all of that information and just extend my heart out to you. It's so hard to experience physical pain and other physical symptoms and to recover from trauma. And I want to just say for anyone listening, just because there's a mental, emotional, or spiritual component to illness or pain, it doesn't make it any less real, and it doesn't make the effects any less present for you in that moment. So I know it can feel really dismissive to hear, oh, well, there's a mental component here, and that's not saying that the pain that you feel isn't there.
Right.
So for my clients, I take a really personalized approach with helping them through their various energetic wounds, as I call them. I get to know the person on a really deep soul level, and I first will look into their Akashic Records. I'll explain a little bit about what that is.
Okay.
So the Akashic Records, they're sort of like this body of energetic knowledge. It does not exist in the physical realm, but it's a consciousness. It's a consciousness, a body of knowledge where I can look in and see, who are you as a soul? What are some of the big characteristics of you as an individual soul? Because that will help to tell me, and then I can tell you how you best function and flow in this universe. What is truly in alignment for you? How do you best work? Because we all work differently. So depending on who you are as a soul, I'll have a very personalized approach to addressing these traumas and these stressors. But in general, what I do is I invite people to tell me more about the physical sensation or the memory that comes up. And I ask them, when was the first time that you felt this way? Can you remember? And sometimes I lead them through a brief meditation to get there and see, oh, is this stemming from childhood? Or perhaps I will look into their Akashic Records and see, did some sort of trauma happen to you in a previous lifetime that I can help to clear? And we'll look at that and we'll see, okay, what are the commonalities between these events? So maybe something happened when you were a toddler and you felt unworthy of love. And maybe as an adult, it doesn't seem like it was a big incident. It doesn't seem like a trauma, but perhaps to a toddler, it was, because your whole world is different when you're a child. But there are often events from childhood, whether it's toddlerhood or in middle school, where a person first really feels like they're not worthy or they're not unconditionally loved. And that really hurts, whether it's being teased about your clothing or your dad left or whatever it was. You felt unworthy for whatever reason. And that might have had physical symptoms come with it at that time, or maybe those physical symptoms are making themselves known now when you feel unworthy all over again, or you question yourself, or you're just so overstressed and overcommitted to all these things that you have to do in life, and all of that energy, emotion, and perhaps trauma comes up to the surface again. And when it does, in my opinion, it's really just an aspect of you that's asking for love and healing.
Nice. Oh, wow. Now, gosh, there's so much in there. One thing that you mentioned about the ebbs and flow of me, of being able to understand all of that, And I know a lot of you are like, what does this have to do with business? But it does. because you don't separate my business is a part of me. My business is me. It's not something that I can turn on and turn off and become a different person. So understanding the ebb and flow of me helps me to better operate in business. Can you talk a little bit about that, Marley?
I'd be very happy to. And absolutely, we are, okay, boundaries are important. Have your set work hours, but if you have your own business, it is an extension of you. It is. And when you have issues in your business or issues in your personal life, it will inevitably spread into the other arena. So when I am working with a client who has boundary issues in their business, I start wondering, okay, where do they have boundary issues in their life? Where are they feeling like they have to be a people pleaser in their life, in their relationships? Where is that? Where's the trauma that's making them feel like it's not safe to set healthy, clear boundaries? And we really look at that. About the ebb and flow, we humans are dynamic beings, and even the earth is dynamic. If you think about it, you have day and you have night, you have a full moon and a new moon, you have the ocean tides, right, going in and going out, the high tide, the low tide. You even have the seasons of each year, autumn, winter, spring, summer. Everything around us is dynamic. Even the breath, inhale, exhale. We are not constantly in the same state. However, many of us have been conditioned to be in this very rigid, unhealthy form of toxic, patriarchal, capitalist society that asks us to be rigid machines, go produce at the same rate every day, 9 to 5, and then go do all the millions of other things. And if you're a mom, you have to be the perfect mom. And if you have a partner or a spouse, go be the perfect partner or spouse, and then be the perfect person in your spiritual community if you have one, or however you're involved in your life. Our structures do not currently allow for the ebb and flow, the dynamic aspects of humanity. And even, if you have a menstrual cycle, you are absolutely dynamic. And I know this can be a touchy subject for people. It doesn't mean that you should be discriminated against. It doesn't mean that you are incapable, but it does mean that your magic will change throughout the menstrual cycle. The way you express yourself is going to be different, and it can actually be empowering to follow your own ebb and flow, whether it's through the menstrual cycle or the moon cycle or just your own rhythms, whatever they are.
Right. Absolutely. And, I was exposed to this by another friend of mine, and I was just very, very intrigued with the fact that because I'm not always working in my natural ebb and flow, that I may be working against myself in some instances in my business. So that was totally an eye-opener for me. And one of the things that I was told is sometimes I'm making it more difficult for me because I'm not allowing the natural ebb and flow to happen. I'm pushing against it.
Absolutely. Timing is everything. It's like when you're telling a joke, when you're having a conversation, you can't just jump the gun. Right. Timing is everything. And if you're watching a movie, they can't just blurt out everything. The timing is so important. And it's true We can work with our rhythms or we can work against them. It's no help to be mad at summer because it's not snowing. It's
Right.
no help to be mad at winter because the flowers aren't blooming.
Right.
Okay? So if you're having a time when your body or your intuition is telling you it's time to turn inward, typically the natural, well, it's not a natural response, the learned response, the knee-jerk reaction for people is, I can't slow down, I have so many things to do, and if I don't do them, then I'll fall behind and nobody will like me and I'll fail and I won't have enough money, and people go just spiral out of control. And I've had many conversations with my clients where they say, Marley, how can I just power through? Like when I'm tired and I just want to get things done, I have a lot to do, how can I power through? I'll tell them, look, it's counterintuitive, but when you're feeling really exhausted, when your body's asking for a break, you need to honor that. You need to. And when I finally convince my clients to do that, they'll come back and they'll tell me, oh my gosh, I just did it. I let myself take a nap, and then I got up and I was 5 times more productive, and I felt so good. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't allowed myself to take a break.
Right.
I like to tell people, what permission slip do you need me to write for you? Because I will write it for you.
That's very nice. Now I know in one of the things that you said was you don't believe in the hustle.
Yeah, I do not believe in the hustle.
Tell us about that. That's a popular saying now. I mean, I even say it sometimes, which I don't really believe in the hustle either, because that sounds like a lot of work. But
okay, so I do not believe in the hustle. I'll tell you what I do believe in. I believe in inspired action. So there are times when I'm just on a roll. I feel so inspired and so creative. I'll be working until 11 or 12 at night on my business just because I'm so in love with it. And, maybe I've put in 12 or 13 hours in my business that day, and I absolutely am in love with it.
Nice.
That's inspired action. However, do I do that all the time and run myself into the ground? Do I work until 11 or 12 at night because I'm afraid? No, I don't. When people are acting out of fear, they're acting out of their natural rhythm. Usually the hustle is centered around romanticizing sleepless nights, poor diet, no exercise, isolation. It really idolizes unhealthy habits. Mm-hmm. And not only are they unhealthy, but they're not sustainable. So eventually you'll probably burn yourself out. You'll get sick. If you don't stop yourself, your body will. The body is like the last messenger. Yes. When something's way out of alignment, your body's going to let you know. And if you don't listen, it'll speak more loudly. Mm-hmm. So for example, thank you. When I was first starting my business, I was scared. I was having all this fear and anxiety, and I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to my intuition or my body. And you know what happened? I fell and I broke 3 bones in my foot. Right before I was supposed to open my business. And wow. It was a lot. And I had slipped a few weeks prior. And I hadn't recognized that was sort of a sign asking me to slow down and be a little more intentional. And I just kept going and going. And so I fell down again a few weeks later and I broke my foot. And of course, there are physical reasons for that. There are physical reasons. I fell down, the pressure, it broke my foot, yep. But the emotional and the spiritual components were there too, where I was feeling ungrounded. I didn't trust my intuition. I was moving too quickly. I was moving out of fear. So I really looked deeply into those emotional, energetic, spiritual issues that accompanied my broken foot.
Wow.
So that I didn't have to, break any other feet.
Yes.
Get the message.
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you, there was a question I wanted to ask you. You had a fun fact on your website. You talked about, I helped one of my clients quintuple her income in just 8 months. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a nice fun fact.
Thank you.
Wow. Tell us how you did that.
So it's really awesome what happens when you are building a business that's truly aligned with who you are as a soul. Because you're working with your rhythms, you're working with who you are. And every single person that I work with, whenever I give them their Akashic Records soul profile reading, it's so validating. And they're like, I've been trying to do it everyone else's way all along, and now I see this is my way. And everybody says that. Everybody's trying to do it some way that's not their own, and it doesn't work. So by understanding who you are as a unique individual, you can build a business around that. And I can coach you on the marketing, the sales, how you put yourself out there, what you're even doing, how you're serving.
Wow.
But also I help with the mindset, the feelings of unworthiness, the unhelpful patterns of acting out of fear. And I do clear the energies that need to be healed that are holding you back.
Wow. Nice. I know that you have a couple programs, the Energetics of Money course and the Transformational Akashic Entrepreneur Journey. And wow, they sound amazing. Oh, love it. Absolutely. And you do have a free gift for my audience. You have the Energetics of Money. I think you're giving them that first module for free. Am I correct?
That is absolutely correct. So the first module is a 6-module course all about the energetics of money. And I talk about it in a very unusual way. I really help people understand what's at the root of their money issues and what to do about it.
Nice. Wow. I need to check that out myself. I was just telling someone just recently, a coach that I was actually talking to, because I've made a certain amount of money in my business and I can't seem to push past that. I can't get to the next level of my goal. And I told her, I said, I've tried everything. I really think, and of course, she is just a marketing coach, and she's a great marketing coach, but she is just a marketing coach. And one of the things she told me was, what do you think, one of the things she asked me, she said, what do you think the problem is? I said, I think I have a money mindset block. I said, I'm not a mindset coach, but I do believe I have a money mindset block. And she said, that may be true. She said, but I can't help you with that. But I can help you with these other things. And I said, I don't want help with those other things. I think I have a money mindset block, and I do need to address that. So this is really good for me too, because it's getting me more in that frame of mind. Because, I'm one of those people that tend to think I know myself pretty well. And I really think there's a block there somewhere that's really creating that for me. So this is good. Very, very nice.
Yeah, some of the common things that people experience fear around are change. So what do you think would change? What do you think it would take to get to that next level? And what would change for you to get there? And maybe it's just a wondering of, am I worthy? Or who am I to have this money when so many people don't? Or, well, it took me so much effort to get here. I don't know if I can put in the effort to get to the next step. Or sometimes it's, well, you know, deep down, you actually believe that people with that amount of money are snobby, rich, you know, don't care about the people around them. So of course you don't want that amount of money. You don't want to be that person, right?
Yeah.
Or people get really afraid. They feel like they don't manage money well, is their belief. So it's like, oh, I can't have this. No, I'm not good at money. So those are just a few things that I often see with people.
That's good. That's really good. I like that. So now Marley has a treat for us. Woo! While we were getting all set up for this, Marley pulled some oracle cards for the show, right?
Yes. So I pulled 4 oracle cards. I was just asking Spirit, what do the listeners across all time and space listening to this podcast? So whenever you are, wherever you are listening to this message is for you. What do they need to hear? What's going on in their journey right now? And so I pulled 4 cards from an oracle card deck, the Animal Spirit Oracle card deck. It's actually called the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle card deck. So the first card will represent where you are, or sort of where you've been, where you are transitioning out of. And the card that I pulled is the Fire Ant card.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. This card, and actually the first 3 cards, are associated with the fire element, which is all about the energy of transformation. Sometimes transformation can feel really uncomfortable, but it's actually a cleansing, a purification of what no longer serves you in your life. So the first card, representing where you've been, what you're transitioning out of, that's the Fire Ant card, and it represents aggression, following orders. The energy I sort of get from it is feeling like you're going through your day like kind of like a robot, just mechanically doing what you need to do, but it's not fulfilling for you. The second card represents your present, or the upcoming present. And that is the Tarantula card. And I know a lot of people have fear around spiders, which is interesting, because when you are really afraid of a certain animal or insect, oftentimes that animal or insect has a certain wisdom to teach you. So I've had a lot of fear around spiders, but I'm not actually afraid as much as I used to be, because I've been working with what the spider represents. So it often represents a balancing between the realms of physical and spirit, or just a balancing in life in general. And in particular, the tarantula in this deck represents being at a cross, your life's purpose. Pretty cool.
Yes, very cool.
Yes. So whatever you can do to really clarify, and this doesn't have to be a stressful thing. A lot of people get very stressed about it. It doesn't have to feel stressful. Even if you just ask yourself, how do I want to feel in my day-to-day life? Or what do I want to help spark in other people? Let that guide you to understand your purpose a little better.
Nice.
And that brings us to the third card, which represents what you'll be stepping into more of in the future, and an energy to really keep close to you as you are navigating the difficulties of this fiery transformation. And this is the Lion card. Oh, I realized I didn't show you the tarantula card. This is the tarantula.
Okay.
And this is the lion. And it really represents that sense of regality, a sense of moving carefully, mindfully, and being a complete master. You know, the lion being the king or queen of the jungle, they work really hard when they want to. They definitely do the ebb and flow, right? Like, when they need to get something done, they're chasing down that gazelle. But otherwise, they're resting because they don't need to be doing other things mindlessly, sort of like the fire ants. Where they're stuck in something that they don't like doing, maybe, or isn't centered on their purpose. And the fourth card is your guiding card. Like, what do we need to know about this transition? What can we really focus on? And it's the stingray card, which is actually associated with the element of water, which represents, believe it or not, ebb and flow, as well as boundaries, emotions, and creativity.
Nice.
And the stingray is all about developing your sense of self, or your backbone, so to speak. What do you stand for? Setting clear boundaries and really understanding who you are so that you can make decisions in alignment for you, rather than saying, okay, I'll just do it, and it just doesn't feel good, and you've overcommitted and out of obligation. That will not be helpful for you on your path. So remember to be clear on yourself, allow yourself to stand in your power, and truly express who you are.
Right. Wow. Very nice. Okay. I'm going to have you do one of these just for me.
I'd be happy to.
Yes. Oh man, that was so insightful. And you walked us through the entire, what you're doing now, what you're doing in the future, what it means. Very nice. I like that.
Thank you.
Wow. So for those of you, for ladies who are listening, it sounds as though when you listen to her reading of the cards, it sounds as though it's walking you from where you are to where you're about to go. And yeah, I love it. Let it be a guiding path for you to seek out more answers, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I find that just having this information can help people to perceive things differently, to understand, oh, this is why this is coming up. Oh, it's not coming up to make my life more difficult. It's asking me to stand in my power and set clear boundaries and really follow my natural rhythms.
Nice. Nice. Now, an unusual or funny thing about you, Marley, was you said when you were 5, you were determined to be an archaeologist, an astronaut, an actress, and the first woman on the Yankees playing center field or catcher. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So ambitious at 5.
Thank you. I was already planning out how I could be all of those at the same time. I was like, okay, I'll go shoot the movie and then dig up dinosaur bones and go to space. And then, I'll just be the first woman on the Yankees. And I was thinking they could build me my own locker room so I wouldn't have to share it with the men.
Oh, wow. Your parents had a dreamer on their hands. Wow.
Yes, I've always been multi-passionate, and it turns out that that's exactly right for who I am as a soul. I mean, just as a soul, I need so much variety. I can't just do one thing. So this is why in my business, I help people with all sorts of things, and I see it is all interconnected. If I were just doing one aspect of it, I would get bored and feel unfulfilled. But instead, we talk about their relationships, their traumas, their business. What's your business, the systems look like? What are your dreams? What are your fears? We talk about it all.
Nice. Wow. I'm definitely going to have to schedule some time with you. I call myself a multi-passionate because I just love doing a ton of things. I'm just like always doing a ton of things. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to schedule some time with you.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. One of your favorite personal mottos is to follow the breadcrumbs. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so often when we have this goal that we want to get to, or maybe this big dream, this big vision, or we just know, I don't know what I want, but I know what I have right now is not it, whatever it is, it can feel really overwhelming to try to even fathom, okay, but how do I get from where I am now to where I want to be? And the natural tendency is to try to figure out all the steps, to logically figure out all the logistics, have it all written out on paper, so that you get some sense of security as to how to make it happen.
Right.
But rarely does the universe hand you that that step-by-step guide. Yes. So instead of dwelling in the overwhelm, or even if you do know what you want to create and you have this 6-week plan and that's great, but you're just overwhelmed with all of it. Rather than being caught in the overwhelm, I remind myself and my clients to just follow the breadcrumbs. And by breadcrumbs, I mean, what's the inspired action that you can do today, right now? What would be most empowering for you to do right now? And right. Sometimes that means send out those emails, and sometimes that means make a nourishing snack, or whatever it is. Follow the breadcrumbs, because that will lead you down the road to where you would like to be.
Yeah, that's awesome, Edna. Well, Marley, we are coming up on the end of our time together. This has been so great, so insightful. I am going to schedule an appointment with you. That I promise. I'm going to make some time on my calendar and schedule an appointment, because I think there's a lot of things I can get out of a session with you. So I look forward to it.
So great.
Yes, it will be. It will be great for me. I know it will clear a lot of energetic blocks for me.
Yeah,
and I feel that. Before we get off the episode today, I would like to ask you one final question. If you could leave something with my audience, one thing that they could take away right now and do today and put in place and make their life better today, what would that be?
My advice is fill your cup first. So just like how on the airplanes they say, put your oxygen mask on before helping others, and maybe that sounds counterintuitive to you, especially if you have some codependency issues or self-worth issues. Seriously, you need to put your oxygen mask on first. You need to fill your own cup first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You just can't. So I know for aspiring entrepreneurs or people with their own business, and you're also juggling all sorts of other things. Maybe it's another job, a family, all of the things that you have going on in your life. It can be so much easier to care for other people and do all those other things before caring for yourself. But you can't pour from an empty cup. So even if you just take 5 or 10 minutes right now and you do something nourishing for yourself, do it. And if you can start your day with that, or end your day, or in the middle of your day, just take care of yourself for 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a 2-week-long retreat. Even 5 or 10 minutes can make such a big deal and help you get back into your natural flows and rhythms. And what I recommend is you just ask yourself, what do I need right now? What would be most empowering for me to do right now? And then do it.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you so much, Marley, for being here today. I'm sure that my audience will get a lot of information from this, because this is one aspect in their business that they have not thought of. And it makes a big difference. I know it does. When after my session with Marley, I will come back and do my own podcast to talk about it, I think. Because I think it'll make a big difference in my business, because I think right now I am experiencing some money blocks.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it can really change your perspective.
Yes, I really believe that. So thank you so much for joining us here today for Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and download the episode. And we will catch you here next time on Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.
This episode of the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast has ended, but it doesn't stop there. Be sure to subscribe for more strategies and advice to help you move from employee to escapreneur, to have the kind of success you have always dreamed of without sacrificing family or time. And don't forget to rate and review us so we can continue to bring you the best content possible to motivate and encourage you on this journey. See you on the next episode.